Welcome to the Sales Masters Roundtable, hosted by Shawn Casemore.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Sales Masters Roundtable. Today, we have the luxury of meeting with somebody I've known for a very long time, Sandro Verelli. Sandro, thanks for joining us here today.
Shawn, so good to be with you. Thanks for the invitation. I was like, what's taking him so long to invite me? I mean, I've seen all these other great guests and like, time's a ticking. Listen, I'm glad I finally made the list.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. Sorry, it did take so long to get through the list, but nonetheless, Sandro, what we're going to do, as we always do, I'm going to ask some questions, very conversational. The whole goal here is for those that are watching or listening to this, if they are a sales leader new, or just somebody that's been in the sales leadership role for a while and they're looking for insights, they'll be able to glean some ideas from what you share today. So first question I like to ask is, what was your first job in sales and what did you enjoy about it?
My first gig as a seller would be, there's actually two versions of this story. The official version would be my first job was selling shoes.
Ah.
Believe it or not. But I had no intention of actually being in sales, but it was actually an opportunity for a family member who had a sportswear store.
Yeah.
But he also, that's his day job by night. He was an Elvis impersonator.
Oh,
And I was like just totally enthralled, kind of starstruck. And I wanted to be Louis. So my first job was selling shoes at Louis Shoes and Sportswear, a
wow.
commercial drive in Vancouver. And that was my first taste of being a problem solver.
Oh, nice.
First job.
Is that what really you latched onto is the idea of solving problems for people that had problems, or what was it that you liked about that job and selling?
If you can sell shoes to cranky Italian ladies, you can pretty much crack the code on any business problem. And so with that came not only a confidence, that I had not experienced that before,
Yeah.
but a curiosity to say, where potentially could this go? Because this is actually not a bad way. There's worse ways to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of just spun away from there.
Yeah. So along that spin, at some point in your career, you became a sales leader. What inspired you to want to transition into sales leadership and move away from the individual that's selling to the one that's leading a team that's selling?
I wish there was some elegant, exciting story about how it happened, about my pursuit, my ambition. I was going to be a sales leader. And it was, I think, probably the typical, hey, you're pretty good at this. And so we're going to need you to go and do that with other sellers that, maybe need some help or are struggling or whatever. So it was by appointment was really my entry into sales leadership. And to be frank, it's not for everybody. In fact, there's a select few that actually make the transition from an individual contributor, as you would say in your books, to someone that can engage and inspire others. And so, Shawn, I have to admit, the first few months, if not years, wasn't very good as a sales leader. So, but you gain scars, right? Experience, and I know when you start to get into a rhythm and you recognize why you're in that role and the impact you have in terms of amplifying others, what makes others great. I do believe personally, everyone's got something about them that's world class. And if you can help them find that within themselves and amplify that in somewhat of a structured way, right, that's for good and not evil, then chances are, I can't imagine a better way for you to express your talent, put food on the table when you're creating opportunities and success and a sense of confidence and well-being in others. And that again is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah. And if you were to compare being a sales leader to being a leader of a finance team or an operational team, you're to your point, you're very much helping people create wins, which makes everybody happy, makes you happy, makes them happy, versus managing their outputs, managing their challenges, managing, so there's still those things to deal with. But unlike, again, leading an operational team who's
Yeah.
just focused on being efficient, it's a little more rewarding, I think, maybe
Yeah.
for sales leaders, right? But it is different from being a
Yeah.
contributor, that's for sure. What's the old saying, right? Most companies go and they take their top sales performer, they make them a sales leader, and in some instances, to your point, that creates two mistakes. You put somebody into the leadership that's maybe not the best leader, and you just lost your top sales performer in the meantime. So it does take
Listen,
a
I've
certain
lived it
person.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's been around forever. I think it was Roden maybe that mentioned that in one of our interviews. But so, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your role today, or kind of what your leadership role in sales looks like today?
Yeah. So today I'm still a practitioner. I still define myself first and foremost as a salesperson, problem solver. Literally carrying a bag for, despite my youthful appearance, like almost 40 years.
Wow.
So today I have the privilege of leading a group here, sales and marketing function for a company called Ideal Warehouse Innovations. And we create safe working environments in the warehousing and logistics industry. So whether it's, forklift safety, whether it's guarding solutions, whether it's trailer collapse prevention, like these are all, in fact, the warehousing and logistics industry is one of the most dangerous operating environments in North America. And yet it just
Yeah.
happens kind of quietly in the background. The economy just keeps humming. So yeah, I've had the benefit of being here for almost 2 years now,
Wow.
post Canadian Professional Sales Association.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been amazing.
Which you led, and for everybody watching, if they didn't know, you led that organization for several years.
Yeah. I was a board member for 12 years. And the last 3 years, I was actually in a leadership, like an operational role, right,
Yeah.
as a CEO of the Canadian Professional Sales Association,
Yeah. Which is
not-for-profit membership association.
Yeah, which is where we connected many years ago. So, if you think about your role today and your team today, what's one of the biggest challenges facing, or that you're facing as a sales leader today with your team?
That's a very good question. I would say the my reaction to the question is alignment. I have some incredibly capable, competent folks that are equipped to be successful. We continue to invest in their success and training and structures and technology. Um, we don't achieve kind of our potential if we're not all kind of aligned around a mission. So that becomes a little bit trickier, a little bit more challenging when the bulk of the team is actually working remotely all over North
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about, human beings being in proximity, right? So keeping the fabric, the culture, the alignment intact, been a bit of a moving target. And over right from COVID days, in fact, where you kind of had to really lean into how do you operate a team, a high performing team on a remote basis. So
Yeah.
we learned, we tested and trialed and obviously failed a bunch of times, but at the same time, we've learned some stuff that to this day, have influenced and shaped the way we work and try to maintain that alignment.
So what is it, for somebody that maybe is leading a high performing team, but they're all working from home, they're a virtual team, a global or at least national virtual team. What's something that you have learned that's a best practice to ensure that team is as effective as possible? Just one tip or idea that you've found is something that is useful or helpful with that team.
This is going to sound kind of kooky, corny, but I can't argue the fact that it's probably been one of the most successful and easiest things we've done to simulate the proximity of if we were working together in the same place. What happens when we're working together in the same place is you get all those uh, functional inconveniences, right? Waiting for the coffee machine, waiting for the elevator, bumping into each other in the parking lot. Like those functional inconveniences don't happen when you work remotely.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of the best places for you to problem solve, to get support, to, noodle a challenge with colleagues or just feel seen and appreciated.
Yeah.
So, one of the things we've done to simulate that kind of proximity is a goofy little thing we do every Monday called office hours. And I'm sure many organizations have versions of office hours, but without a shadow of a doubt, 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern time, I click this machine on, this piece of plastic,
Yeah.
and I invite the team. I don't care if you're going to sit there for an hour and just look at the top of my head while I'm doing email, but the door is open. And as it turns out, it's probably the most popular things we do. And the other thing is, it's all voluntary. You don't have to actually attend office hours, just a drop in.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
that's great.
best attended. I sneak in a few agenda items here and there. We have a chit chat. We celebrate our wins. We lean into some problems situationally. It's a lot of fun. Not a lot of prep required, and it just keeps us stitched together.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's a good tip for those that aren't using that or have considered trying it to give that a try. So, thinking about your team, what is one of the methods or strategies you use to keep your team focused on their targets, on their priorities, knowing that again, this is a remote team, you're not talking to them all the time.
Yeah.
They're out there, killing it on their own, doing great things. But how do you maintain focus and pursuit of those targets with a team that is working remote? What are those strategies you use?
Uh, Limit the number of distractions.
Ah,
So, an operating principle is, if we do anything for our team, is you're going to know that you've got direct access in accessibility to your leader
yeah,
anytime. That it's painfully obvious to you how you can be successful in your role in terms of your work rhythms and processes and support structures,
yeah,
and that you have a very limited but uh, visible number of OKRs, right? So
mm,
objectives and key results.
yeah,
And so we use some of our cloud-based, tools or work tools
yeah,
to keep that front and center. And so between a combination of lots of frequency, like with less formality, but lots of frequency, always pinging our OKRs and celebrating our successes, but also kind of challenging each other in the moment that we kind of fall a little bit behind.
yeah,
Um, is nothing elegant or extravagant, but that's literally how we have maintained this idea of alignment and forward momentum. I will say, probably the least sexy of them is though just to limit the number of objectives we're pursuing, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because I think I learned this from you, is you only have a certain number of effort and energy units to invest in any one initiative, right? The more initiatives, the fewer, energy credits, let's say, or
yeah.
focus credits you can put into anything.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so just one thing I'd like to ask as we're getting ready to wrap up here. What's something that you wish you knew when you became a sales leader that you didn't know? You learned along the way, but it would have been very helpful if you knew that going into being a sales leader.
Uh, my reaction is Sean Casemore. Wish I would have known Sean Casemore when I was a youngster struggling badly as a rep, like suffering miserably for, you know, those early years.
Yeah.
Um, all kidding aside, though, I don't think, again, I know what was the turning point for me was actually getting serious about credentialing myself, right?
Mm, yeah.
Investing in developing my skills, my chops. And it wasn't because it gave me better words to use or, different language or even the credentials. Uh, I underestimated the importance of confidence
Mm,
in this
yeah.
role. Just that kind of unyielding, ears pinned back, head into the fight confidence. And so if I do anything for my team, is job one is just make sure we build on confidence, confidence, confidence.
Yeah. Great. Well, last question then for you. What's the biggest challenge you foresee your team or just sales professionals as a whole dealing with in the coming years?
Aside from, no, I was going to say, I was going to crack a joke, indifference, but no, this is probably a bad time to joke. Um, I don't know if it's a technical challenge to overcome. It's just how we continue to adopt technology in our work, right?
Yeah.
As an enabler versus something that we got to have the stink eye around.
Or distraction.
Or a distraction, 100%, right? The fact is we can accelerate what we want to achieve in some pretty creative and awesome ways if we just embrace. So, yeah, I just think integrating technology into how we do our work in the service of our customers, recognizing that the humanity of what salespeople actually bring the
Yeah.
interaction, like
Yeah.
nothing's ever going to replace that. But our reach is so much broader when we integrate those tools to create that kind of reach, that
Yeah.
scalability, that accessibility to us. So um, the technical challenge is how to continue to foster that and stay ahead.
Yeah, amidst all of the other challenges and daily battles that I'm sure you face, as do others. So, if somebody wants to reach out, Sandro, and connect with you, what would be the best way for them to do so?
Uh, Easily the fastest, most convenient way is LinkedIn. So you can just look me up, Sandro Verelli, or at idealwarehouseinnovations.com. So S Verelli at idealwarehouseinnovations.com, and or through Shawn. Everybody knows Shawn.
Yeah,
So the
I
best
can
the
connect
best
you.
path to me is through Shawn. So if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll start to take your calls from now on.
Yeah.
I'll screen them
Yeah.
for you.
Looking
No,
for
that's
some
great.
help.
Well, listen, Sandro, I really appreciate you taking time to share your insights and experiences with our audience here on the Sales Masters Roundtable, and look forward to speaking with you again.
You're awesome, Shawn. You inspire me and you do an awesome job with this. So thanks for having me on today.
Thank you.